Hi there, my name is Joe Wood, and in this video tutorial I'm going to show you how easy it is to make your own custom tour using Google Maps. Now, in a previous video I showed you how to do this with Google Earth, so you might be wondering, why would I even use Google Maps? Well, the main reason why is that Google Earth is pretty bandwidth and processor intensive, and it also requires you to install software. And you may find yourself in a situation where all you really have access to is a web browser and the internet. And this often happens with our students when they're at home. And so Google Maps can be a nice little alternative to Google Earth. The other advantage is that your Google Maps projects can be collaborative, whereas it's not very easy for your Google Earth ones to be. So what we're actually going to do in this quick little tutorial is I'm going to create my own Google Maps story about 3 types of volcanoes. So I actually have on the left here a document that I've already created with all of the information that I'm going to use, including titles, text, and even photos for my 3 place marks. And then off to the right, I actually have the map up along with the tabs to the little photos and videos that I'm going to use. And when you're creating your own tour, I would suggest that you do this as well, especially if you're working with kids, just because it forces them to do a little research ahead of time and then actually spend time creating their map. So I'm going to take a look at maps first and kind of get us started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure you're at the Google Maps homepage and that you've logged in. So you should see your Google account in the upper right hand corner. Assuming that you are, go ahead and click on this little button right here, My Places. And what you're going to do is you're going to create a map. And so my map is going to be types of volcanoes. And I give it a little description. And so now what I can do is I can go ahead and start finding my first place mark. So my first place mark is actually for a shield volcano in Hawaii. So I'm actually going to copy the text here because I'm going to need that in a second. And I'm going to come over to my map and I'm going to type in Mauna Kea, Hawaii. And Google Maps navigates me right there. I'm actually right over the volcano. And if I back out a little bit using the zoom tool, it gives my viewer a little bit of perspective. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the push pin and add a place mark. And so when I click on that, I can then drag it to where I want it and drop it. And so what opens up here is it takes me back to my map, types of volcanoes with my description, and I have my first place mark here. And so I can give it a title. So I copied the title that I wanted to use from my Google Doc. So I have that in there. And I can also change my place marks to a different icon. So I'm going to go with the yellow push pin. And what's a little bit different about Google Maps versus Google Earth is that you have a plain text editor. You also have a rich text editor, which you do not have in Google Earth, which is kind of handy. So you have things like bold and italic, but you can edit the HTML if you need to. So what I'm going to do is grab this text here that I already wrote out and paste that in my box. And then I have a picture that I want to use, and I actually already brought that picture up here in another tab. And so since this is in Flickr, what I need to do is I need to go to Actions and View All Sizes, choose the size of the picture I want, and then I right-click, copy the image URL, go back to my map, and then decide where I want the picture. So maybe I want the picture up here at the top. So I click on the photo icon and I paste in the URL. Your pictures do need to be online, very similar to Google Earth. You can't upload a picture to Google Maps. So you got to get it online someplace first if you want to use a custom picture. So now I have my photo and I have the text. The last thing I need to do is probably add an attribution for the photo where I found it. So I'm going to go back to the main page here and copy this URL. And this photo is called Mauna Kea from a Field by, if I look over here on the right, by Wolfram Burner. So I can add that into my place mark. Oops. So I highlight all that, and I'm just going to turn it into a hyperlink. Paste in what I copied, and this text is actually pretty large. So if I want, I can make it a little smaller. And then I hit OK. And if I hit Save and then Done, I can click on this first place mark and see how it looks. So there's my photo, there's my text, and there's my citation below it. So that was the first one. The next one I have is called Black Butte Volcano in California. So I'm going to type in Black Butte Volcano, California. Now, one of the issues that can sometimes happen when you're typing in what you're looking for is Google Maps is going to want to take you to a bunch of businesses. And I'm not looking for a business, I'm looking for a specific volcano. And these aren't really helping me, just sort of glancing at them. But one of the things that's kind of cool about Google Maps is that you can always go to Google and type in what you're looking for. So Black Butte Volcano, California, there it is. And if I go to the Wikipedia entry for it, I can find the coordinates here on the right. And so if I go up to the top, I can just copy the coordinates. And Google Maps will read coordinates just as it reads names that you've typed in. So I'm going to put in my coordinates. And actually, boom, I'm right there. I'm over the Black Butte Volcano. So just like before, I'm going to go back to My Places, make sure I'm in the editing mode of my map, grab a place mark, drop it. It remembers the place mark type that I used before. This is a cinder cone volcano. So let me copy that information and copy in the text just like I did before. Oop, I have a little typo here in my text. I should probably fix that first. All right, now I'm going to copy my text. Pasted that in. And like before, I'm going to find my picture. So it's Flickr, so I go to Actions, View All Sizes, choose Small, right-click, copy image URL, go back to the map. I want to put it up here at the top. I'm going to put in my photo, just like before, hit OK, and then I can click on it once I hit Done, and see how it looks. So I have my photo and I have my text. One thing I'm missing here is the attribution. So just as a quick reminder, the way you do that, you go, in this case on Flickr, I can come back to the photo, to the main page, and I can copy the URL. And this photo is just called Untitled, and it's by C. Jill Reed. So I can go back to my map here, and just below the paragraph, put photo Untitled by C. Jill Reed on Flickr. And then I'm going to take all of this and highlight it, not make it bold anymore, and then turn it into a hyperlink and change the text down to small. That one's done. Okay, so my last one is actually Composite Volcano, which is out in Mount St. Helens in Washington State. Let's see if Google can find this one, or Google Maps. Mount St. Helens. There we go. Mount St. Helens, awesome. So just like before, grab my push pin, drop it, copy my text from the title, which I already did. Just like before, go grab the paragraph, copy, paste, and then grab my photo, which go to Actions, View All Sizes. I just want the small photo, copy the image URL, go back to my map, go up to the top here if it'll let me. Sometimes if this happens in your browser, if you just hit OK and then you go back to the place mark, it kind of fixes it. Sometimes Chrome, or it really this happens with any browser, and Google Maps are not always, they don't always play well together. So there's my picture. I'm going to hit OK, save, and then done. And then click on my place mark, and there's my photo. Just like before, though, I need to put in an attribution. So this particular photo is called Mount St. Helens from Johnson Ridge by Chuck Kui, I guess. So let me go back here. So we got to go into edit mode. Go down to the bottom here. Oh. Cancel. Try this again. Oh, this one really doesn't want to work. Well, I can always go into my HTML, go down to the bottom, and do photo. It's called Mount St. Helens. It's from Johnson Ridge. Make sure I spell this correctly. There we go. Okay, let me see if I go back to rich text here if I get a normal editor. Of course not. All right, well, I'll fiddle with that later. But the last thing I did want to mention that you can do with Google Maps is pretty cool, is because you have that HTML button, you can also easily put in video. So I found some video online that was actually from an old USGS episode of Mount St. Helens erupting. So I can go into share, grab the embed code. Oh, which for this video, I guess they've gone ahead and disabled it. But if you find a video that has embed codes, let me click on this other video here that says it's Mount St. Helens, and you go to share, you can grab the embed code. You can resize the video if you need to, but you can grab the embed code, go to the map, click on the place mark, this time edit HTML, and then maybe what I'm going to do is right here, paste that in underneath where my citation is. Click OK, click Save, and then Done. And now when I click on the place mark, I have my photo, I have my text, and then I actually have the movie underneath. So kind of a handy little thing. The last part that I'll mention is that these can be collaborative. So if you want to work on this map with another person, or like you're going to ask your students to turn it into you, they can just hit the Collaborate button, put in an email address there to another Google account, and then share that map with someone. Another little handy feature that you can do in here too is you can allow anyone to edit this map, which for this particular project might not make a whole lot of sense. But let's say you had a map where you wanted every student in your class to put a push pin of a place that they want to visit. Or if you're working with older students, maybe at a university level, and you're trying to get to know each other, so it's like, what high school did you go to? You can allow anyone to edit a particular map by just going in and dropping push pins. So it's kind of a handy little way. So it's just a quick little introduction to how you can do some digital storytelling with Google Maps, very similar to Google Earth. But this way, you don't have to have a heavy processor or a lot of bandwidth. All you need is a web browser and a little bit of internet access. If you have any questions, please leave a comment or shoot me an email.